Good afternoon, everyone. It is Wednesday, December the 16th, 2020. It is currently 2:10 p.m. Central Time. I'm here at Victory Baptist Church. I need to be on my way home because I'm starving. I haven't had lunch, but I tried this earlier this morning. It did not really go well, so I'm going to try this again. I'm going to try to give everyone an update in regards to my family and the COVID-19 situation we've been dealing with. So let me remind you of what happened. I'm going to try to do this quickly because a lot of you have emailed me. Some of you have been very thoughtful and considerate. Thank you. Some of you, not so much, and I'll talk about some of you here in a minute. Okay, so let me explain what happened. On Friday, I was here at Victory Baptist Church doing live broadcasts because that's what I do. And I started getting all these notifications, ding, 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 and found out that my daughter had tested positive for COVID-19. Now, as soon as that happened, I knew, I got to start coming up with a plan here. This is going to greatly impact my family because my daughter and her two children, Landon and Liam, stay with us. So I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be a problem because if she passes it on to, say, my wife's underlying health issues, this could be like a death sentence for her. My daughter's got her own underlying health issues that it could be bad. And of course, then she could pass it on to Landon and Liam. They could pass it on to me. It could just get passed around. This could be a really bad situation. So I immediately what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I did a very brief broadcast on Friday letting everyone know that she had tested positive and that it was going to delay me being able to do live broadcasts and was going to mess up a lot of things. And while I was live on the air, my daughter started calling me on FaceTime, to talk to me about the situation. So here's what happened. I went home on Friday and we had to make a strategic decision. All right. My daughter has a friend she's been hangs around with all the time. And basically, if my daughter's not at work, in many cases she's at her friend's house, and that's where she's at all the time. Okay, so they had already been clearly exposed to her, and obviously exposed to her being positive with COVID. So I was like, okay, what do we do here? So we had a discussion, and here was the strategy we came up with. The friend agreed that, hey, I've already been around her. There's a very good chance I've already been exposed to it. Good chance I could already have it. So she'll stay here and quarantine here. That will avoid her spreading. If anyone's already been exposed to it in the house, there will be no more exposure and possibly stop the chance of anyone in your house getting it. Because here's the thing. Stay with her friend and expose one person, they possibly getting it, or stay at my house and then expose 4 other people of possibly getting it. And one of them has enough health problems that COVID could be a death sentence too. So we made the strategic decision. She took her stuff and went to her friend's house. Now, the minute that happened, then there was thought, okay, she'd been in our house some. We know there's a chance we've been exposed to it. So we had to start taking every precaution, wiping everything down, washing everything, doing everything we can. And one of the things we had to do was separate Landon, Liam, and me from my wife. Tell my wife, go stay in the room. I'll sleep in the study. We got to separate everyone because if anyone else has been exposed to it and we're possibly carrying it, the last thing we want to do is pass it on to you because if you get it, it's not good. Now, so we start taking every precaution possible, doing everything we can, washing things down. We put on masks. We're doing everything we possibly can to ensure my wife doesn't get it while continuing to check on my daughter. Now, my daughter's situation, as of yesterday, she was in lots of pain, having trouble breathing. She was crying. She was not in good shape. We were talking to her via FaceTime. I have not gotten an update today because I've been here pretty much all day here at the church. I will get one when I go home. But continue to pray. I think her even though it's been painful and difficult at times, I think she's going to make it through it relatively, hopefully without any major problems and be okay. So here's what happened. This is crazy how these circumstances play out. So on Friday, my daughter gets diagnosed with COVID. Now, my wife was supposed to leave Monday morning, like late Monday morning, early Monday afternoon, to drive to Dallas with her friend who had to go to Dallas for a surgical procedure. Now, her friend, so that we're going to get in a car on Monday, drive all the way to Dallas, get a motel. The procedure was going to happen on Tuesday, then drive all the way back. All right. Now, when I say all the way, I mean, it's about 2.5 2.5 hours from where we are to Dallas, 2.5, 3 hours, depending on where you're going on in Dallas. All right. So that's where they were supposed to go. Now, as soon as my wife found out, wait a minute, Becca, our daughter, has been exposed, has COVID-19 positive. I've been possibly exposed. I could be a carrier. I got to tell my friend I can't go. So she called her friend like, look, I can't go with you. There's just no way because I could be putting you at risk. There's no way I can go. So it was agreed that she would not go to Dallas. All right. This is crazy. So my wife stays away from us all weekend. I'm trying to watch the boys, keeping them away from her. It stops me from being able to come out to the church to do much. Separation. Everyone isolate, separate. We don't go anywhere. We don't leave the house. We don't go anywhere. When I did come out here, obviously I'm coming to an empty building. I'm not stopping anywhere else. We have food delivered to the door, everything. Now, on Monday morning, my wife's friend, she volunteers to go pick up some groceries for us and bring them to the door. So she comes, brings them to the door because she's getting ready to go to Dallas, where my wife was supposed to take her. My wife's not going to go because my wife's like, hey, I've been exposed to COVID. I can't go. So this friend brings groceries to our door. Now we don't open the door to talk to her. But after she leaves, we take all the bags, bring them into the house. That friend of my wife, she goes to Dallas, and before they can do the procedure on Tuesday, they want her tested for COVID on Monday. Guess what happens? My wife's friend that my wife was going to be in a car with all the way to Dallas and then stay in a motel with. Monday afternoon, she's in Dallas. She gets tested the day before her procedure, and guess what? She's positive for COVID. So if my wife would have went, my wife would have been in a car with someone that whole trip who had COVID and been in a motel with, and that would have been basically a death sentence to my wife. So in a weird, roundabout way, my daughter being tested positive was almost a life-saving event for my wife. It's crazy. Now, obviously, I'm not saying, yay, my daughter got COVID, but it really, in a roundabout way, could have saved my wife's life, because if she gets COVID, I'm telling you, it's not going to be good with her underlying medical issues. That's just the way it works with COVID. If you have certain issues, make it more serious than others. Now, there's always exceptions. There's young children who have died. There's people who are perfectly healthy who have died. But my wife would be, percentage-wise, statistically speaking, she would be in great danger. Obviously, not everything works according to statistics. We always know that. All right. So the positive thing is my wife avoided it. But then here's what happened. Starting Monday afternoon, my wife started developing symptoms, and we were like, oh, no. But she was tested yesterday, and it came back negative. So as of today, I have not developed any symptoms. Landon hasn't developed any symptoms. My wife hasn't developed any symptoms. My wife has tested negative. Liam has started showing some symptoms, and we're worried. So I'm going to have to hurry up and get back home, because it sounds like I'm going to have to make sure that he stays away from my wife, because, again, it's trying to keep my wife from everything. But we're hoping we're almost past all of this, and that my daughter's going to get over it, and within that 10 to 14 day window, depending how she's got to go 2 days without any symptoms. And then once she goes 2 days without any symptoms of any kind, no fever, no symptoms, then she'll get tested again. And if she gets a negative, then we can all resume normal life to some level. My daughter most likely got it from her place of employment, because they did not close down, even though people were starting to test positive like crazy there. They were taking precautions and wearing masks and everything. But so they closed like the day before my daughter gets COVID, or gets tested positive for COVID. And literally, like the day or day after my daughter tested positive, multiple people from her place of employment tested. So clearly the place of work became the place where it was being spread. Even though they were taking precautions, it's just you're working together for 9 hours a day. People are touching surfaces, going to the same bathroom. You're in an office space. Even though you're wearing masks, your chances, it's not great. So, that's what happened. So my daughter will be working from home till somewhere in January. The boys, Landon and Liam, we haven't had them in school since all of this started. And so they continue their schooling at home. And we're just taking it day by day. That's the situation. I don't know what else I can say. I will say this. Here's some of the things I've learned from all of this. One, sadly, some of you thought that, hey, you hear a podcast that someone's daughter has COVID. You thought that the Christian thing to do was to email me and tell me you're a liar. There is no such thing as COVID. You're making it up. You're part of the conspiracy. I don't want to get mad. I just can you just I don't want to say this in a mean way. Just go away. Just Alex Jones, he'll be more than happy to entertain your conspiratorial thinking. There's QAnon podcasts, and I bet you there's even an opening right now in your local mental hospital for you to get treated for your mental disorder, because clearly there's something seriously wrong with you to do that. So don't email me telling me it's all a lie and it's all a conspiracy and it's all made up. I don't know why you're doing that. My daughter was tested positive COVID. I don't get any money by saying that. I don't get anything for it. Okay, and it put a very dangerous situation for my wife. So I don't got time to entertain your nonsense. Okay, but so thank you. But again, it's people. It's professing Christians. Again, I have received in all of my years, and I have been doing podcasts since before podcast was a word. Okay, I've been doing them forever. There wasn't even podcast apps back when I was doing podcasting. Okay, so the death threats I have received over the years, the threats, the name calling, the cruel, mean, rude, harsh, gossip, slander, instead of contacting me, trying to bash me online, all of the things people have done to me, it's always been done by professing Christians. Atheists and agnostics have always shown respect to me. They've always shown kindness. They've shown mercy. It blows my mind. Now, I'm not saying all Christians. I'm saying it's always been Christians who've been that way. Okay, but the atheists have all been nice. However, I've experienced over my time of Christians being gracious, merciful, thoughtful, and I'm grateful for those. But the Christians who are so cruel and mean, like, don't you realize it says something about your spiritual life? All right. So for those who've sent emails showing compassion and kindness, thank you. But that's the situation. We're hopefully are turning a corner. The good thing is I'd already suspended in-person services. So I did not put anyone at church at risk. I didn't expose anyone. No one was exposed. So that's a good thing. So I didn't put anyone in danger. The good thing is we had already, or my daughter and my wife had already started taking what's called the COVID kit here in the local area, which is filled with non-prescription medications, or basically vitamins and different things, supplements that is supposed to help lessen the severity if you do get it and try to help prevent you from getting it, building your immunity system. Some of you sent me also some other good suggestions, and I thank you for that. They were very well researched and medically viable, scientific, things, not like, go rub some dirt on your forehead under the pale blue moonlight of a Tuesday night. Or it wasn't some crazy stuff like that. But so I'm very appreciative of that. And hopefully we make it past it. Look, I mean, there's people all around the world right now suffering. Over 303,000 Americans have died. Well, over 1,600,000 have died globally. That number is probably higher today, probably close. We're probably fast approaching. Who knows? We're going to be at 2 million before we know it. There's lots of suffering. So pray for the world at large. Pray for people suffering at large. Thank you for your praying for my wife and for my daughter. My daughter can get over it, and my wife just stays away from me. We've tried to keep my wife away from everything. I mean, just don't let her leave the house under any circumstances is what we've tried to do, just because of her health issues. So just continue to pray about all of that, and we'll see. I've already been here today longer than I needed to be because I need to be at home, really trying to keep the boys away from my wife. But I made the determination it's Wednesday. I needed to get some things recorded. So here I am. I've done the best I could today. There's still so many other things I need to talk about today. Today felt like trying to catch up, but I've done what I could. There's the latest. It's the end of, this is where I have to say, okay, that's the end of all the live broadcasts today. And I get in the car and I'm going to drive away going, man, that was horrible. I didn't do very well on anything. I don't felt like anything really went the way I wanted it to. So I've done what I could. hopefully it's beneficial. Hopefully the people in the church, you found something to be useful tonight. There we go. I'll keep you posted. Hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. If not, I'll be back hopefully Friday, and we will see. Email me if you need to, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. I'll be more than happy to correspond with you if I can. And there we go. I got some notifications coming in. What's that notification? Let me look. Okay, no, Texas is suing Google. All right, that's what's going on. Someone wants me to know that Texas is suing Google. Okay, well, Texas is always trying to sue somebody, it appears, right? Okay, that's a whole different story, right? Okay, so yeah, we won't get into election issues, right? Oh, let's not get into that. All right, so there we have it. That's what's going on. And so for those who are cruel and mean, thank you. Just go away. Everyone else, thank you very much. And we'll see. I think we're all going to move past this, and then hopefully the vaccine can do its job, and hopefully enough people will get it that we can get herd immunity. We can get past this virus. We can be done away with it, and life can get back to normal, and people can get back to their jobs, and we can deal with the next challenge that will face us. Because whatever challenge COVID is, there's another challenge coming down the road. Trust me, there always is. And that's just the way it is in living in a fallen world. All right. Thank you. Everyone have a great day. God bless.